These are the odds from page 19 and 20 that were classwork for today, Tuesday. So I'm going to go through those odds so that it'll be easier for you to do the evens this evening. So problem number 1, angle 112 degrees here is vertical to where the x is. They're across from one another. So this angle x is 112 degrees. On number 3, notice these are adjacent angles. They have a common side with a common vertex, and here we have a straight line. That means we have 180 degrees total. They are a linear pair. So their sum should be 180. So if that's true, we need a 56 degrees for this little angle here. Number 5. If you look at it carefully, here's a 90-degree angle. This indicates that we have perpendicular line and a ray. We know it's a right angle, so it's 90 degrees. If we look at this 72-degree angle here, it's vertical to this angle over here because it's created with these two straight lines. That indicates that y is 72. And if that's true, we can also look at that straight line right there. We have adjacent angles. These two form a linear pair. That means they must add up to 180, so this one has to be 108 degrees. So 108 plus 72 is 180. If we look here, there's a straight line. So all three of these angles, the 72, the 90, and this little angle z, they must total 180. So if I add these two together, I have 162 degrees, and I would need 18 more over here to make a total of 180. So z is 18, y was 72, and x was 108. Number 7, angle A and angle B are complementary. So there's a vocabulary word. That means their sum is 90 degrees. So if angle A's measure is 42, that means I need to have a measurement for B that would get me all the way up to 90. So 48 degrees. Number 9. Angles 1 and 2 form a linear pair. That means they form a straight line. I can call this angle 1 and that angle 2. They form a straight line and they are adjacent. Here's the common side. If the measure of angle 1 is 113 degrees, the measure of angle 2 must be enough so that I have 180 total. So 67 degrees. The measure of angle 2 equals 67 degrees. Because 113 plus 67 is 180. Go down here to number 11. If line AB is perpendicular to ray CD, there are very small arrows. This line and this ray are perpendicular, so that's a right angle. I can have another one on this side. And the measure of angle DCE, right there, is 7x plus 2. And the measure of angle, I've lost some colors. And the measure of angle ECB, this one right here, is x plus 8. Find the measure of angle DCE. So our final goal is to know that measurement, that number. Right now what we know is this little part plus this little part equals the entire giant 90-degree angle. So 7x plus 2 plus x plus 8 sums to 90. They're complementary. So if I combine like terms, I have 8 x's all together. I have 10 for the constant, equals 90. I have to subtract 10 on both sides to keep it balanced, so that I have 8x equals 80. Divide by 8 on both sides so that it stays balanced, and x is 10. So we're looking for this one, the measure of angle DCE. Right here, the measure of angle DCE is 7 times my x value plus 2. So the measure of that angle is 72 degrees. And we go on to number 13. Angle DEG, that's this one here, is 5x minus 4. And the measure of angle GEF, right there, is 7x minus 8. And the measure, where are the other colors, of angle DEH. That one right there is 9y plus 5. Find the values of x and y. Well, there are some interesting observations here. If I just look at those two angles, they happen to be adjacent, and these two sides form a straight line. That means they're supplementary. If I add those two angles together, the total would be 180. So I can solve this equation, 5x minus 4 plus 7x minus 8 equals 180. That will help me find x. Combine like terms. I have 12 x's all together. Minus 12 equals 180. I have to add 12 to both sides. I have to divide by 12 on both sides. I have x is 16. Well, that's part of the problem. We found x, now we have to find the y value. So y, here's the y value. If I do that same kind of analysis, making that straight line here, I have a linear pair, they're adjacent and they have a straight line, a line, 180, that's that straight angle. So, but there's two variables involved, so I think I'll take that 16, which is what the value for x is, and substitute it in right here for x so that I know the numeric value of this angle. I have the degrees. So if I do 5 times 16 minus 4, so 5 times 6 is 30, so that's 80 minus 4. This little angle right here is 76 degrees. So if I add these two together, 76 plus 9y plus 5, that total is 180 because they're a linear pair, which means they're adjacent and supplementary. So I'm going to combine my constants so that I have 81. I'm going to subtract 81 on both sides to keep it balanced. I end up with 99. Divide both sides by 9, I have y equals 11. We're going to jump to 15. There we go. And read that angle P and angle Q are supplementary. Well, supplementary angles have a sum. It's two angles whose sum is 180. So angle P and angle Q, those two measurements will add up to 180. So I can do 4x plus 1 plus 9x minus 3 equals 180. So on the left-hand side, I'm going to combine like terms. I have 13 x's, and when I take this positive 1 and the negative 3 and I combine them, I end up with a negative 2. To keep it balanced, I'm going to add 2 on both sides, and then I have to divide both sides by 13. So 182 divided by 13 is 14. So x equals 14. And the question they're asking is for you to find the measure of angle Q. So here's Q. You have to take that 14 and substitute it back in. The measure of angle Q equals 9 times 14 minus 3. So 126 minus 3. So the measure of angle Q equals 123 degrees. Number 17. And this one reads that angles J and K are complementary. That means their sum is 90. So we are told that the measure of angle J is, so measure of angle J is 18 less than, so I'm going to subtract 18. 18 less than the measure of angle K. Well, we don't know the measure of angle K, so I'm going to call it x. So I'll write right here that the measure of angle K is equal to x. So I have an expression for J, I have an expression for K. So we know that they have to total. If I add them together, x plus x minus 18 equals 90. I have two x's. I'm going to add 18 to both sides to keep it balanced. Divide by 2. So the measure of angle K right here is 54 degrees. Whoops. There we go. And the measure of angle J is 54 minus 18. We also know that these two angles have to be complementary. That means they add up to 90. So 36 degrees. And then we're down to number 19. There we go. This says if ray MO bisects angle PMN. So here's my ray. There's angle PMN. If we have it bisected, we can put the little arc marks here because we know that bisecting cuts a segment or an angle into two congruent parts. Then we're told that angle PMN, this whole thing is 74 degrees. Well, if these two are congruent or equal in measure, couldn't I just take that and cut it in half and it would tell me each one of these? 37? 37. And the measure of angle OMN. Oh goodness. OMN. This one right here. OMN. Has that expression. But we already said that it was 37 degrees. So couldn't I take the 2x plus 7 and make it equal to 37 degrees? And then solve for x. They're asking us to find the value of x. So 2x equals 30, so x is 15. And that was the classwork we were supposed to get through today. So hopefully that will help you with the evens, which are your homework.